What's going on, everyone? I want to welcome you to the second episode of Hot Seats. I'm Grayson Seghini. With me is my partner, Stephen Ammann. And also, we'd like to thank GroupCast Sports reporter and team member Alex Seghini for joining the show. Alex,
good to see y'all.
Thank you.
To the viewers out there, I didn't get the memo that we were dressing up today. Quite frankly, I'm not even wearing shoes. But yeah, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we're so pumped to give you for everything that we have in store tonight. And you guys want to just jump right into the action?
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. So starting off, one of the greatest debates of all time is Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Who really is the greatest basketball player of all time? Alex, I'm going to let you go first. Who do you think is the greatest basketball player of all time?
I'm not sure if this should be the greatest debate of all time. I don't think it's much of a debate. LeBron James is by far the greatest basketball player of all time. Michael Jordan is close, but he's not quite there. He's close now, and LeBron's career still isn't over. LeBron is just going to keep on gaining traction against him. You want to go ahead and let Stephen go, or you want me to just go ahead and plead my case?
Go ahead and plead your case.
I'll just point out the difference in the teams that LeBron James and Michael Jordan have been facing. First off, let's say Jordan had a Hall of Fame coach in Phil Jackson, whereas we all know LeBron James has basically been his own coach. The difference in the teams, the 92-93 Bulls went 57-25. That's with Michael Jordan. Michael went off to play baseball. The following year, the Michael Jordan-less Chicago Bulls went 55-27. They lost 2 more games without Michael Jordan. Does Michael Jordan mean 2 games? Is he going to win you 2 games? Because let's go to the Cavs. The 08-09 Cavs with LeBron James went 61-21. They have the best record in the league. The following year, LeBron left for the Heat. Take a guess what the Cavs record was without LeBron.
I don't know.
19-63. That was ridiculous. They were a lottery team without LeBron James. Everyone says, Jordan is a better shooter. Well, or a scorer. Let's go to three-point shooting. Jordan was 32% from behind the arc on 1.7 attempts per game. Go over to LeBron James, 34% from the three-point with 4.1 attempts per game. That's a better shot percentage with less attempts. More attempts, excuse me. And the main flack about LeBron James is the finals. He didn't get there. Well, it took Jordan 4 times to get out of the first round. LeBron has been to 8 straight finals, so he's never lost in the first round. Jordan has never went to more than 3 straight. LeBron has 18 triple-doubles to Jordan's 2. And give LeBron James some slack for some of his finals losses, because he has been playing the greatest team of all time and the Golden State Warriors. Go ahead,
Stephen. Let's hear your side, because I know you're for Michael Jordan. You think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball?
I'm definitely for Michael Jordan. One of the first things I look at when I try to decide who's the better player is who would you rather give the ball to in a situation where it mattered. When you look at scoring, Michael Jordan led the NBA in scoring 10 different times. Can you guess how many times LeBron has done it?
How many?
Once. When you look at when it mattered most, Michael Jordan had 38 40-point playoff games, and LeBron has 22 in 46 more games. MJ scored under 20 points only 6 times in the playoffs. He played 179 games. LeBron has scored under 20 points 8 times in the finals alone. Michael Jordan never scored under 20 points in the finals. When you look at, maybe if you want to get a stop on defense, Michael Jordan won the Defensive Player of the Year once and was on the All-Defensive Team 9 times. LeBron has never won the Defensive Player of the Year and has only been on the Defensive Team 5 times. Now, how about winning time? When you go to the finals, Jordan was 6-0, a perfect 6-0 in his finals. When you look at LeBron has lost 5 series, he's been swept, and has blown multiple 2-1 leads in the finals. So that's my
I'm going to put in my 2 cents, because I am a huge LeBron James advocate. I love LeBron James, and I do think that he is the greatest basketball player of all time. So I want to throw out a few numbers. Inside the arc shooting percentage, Michael Jordan, 51%. LeBron James, 54.3%. Rebounding. Jordan averaged 6.2 rebounds a game, opposed to LeBron James, 7.3 rebounds per game. Now, Stephen, you talked about defense. This is the difference between Michael Jordan's defense and LeBron James' defense. Michael Jordan was a great defender. He shut down people at his position. LeBron James shuts down point guards. He shuts down shooting guards. He shuts down small forward. Anybody who's on the court, LeBron James will shut down.
LeBron also didn't have a team of 5 good defenders to play around. He has to move around to the best player on the court at all times.
And I still, I think, and I was going to bring it up, but Alex brought it up. I think that one of the biggest stat out of all of this is when Jordan leaves the Bulls to play basketball, and when
To play baseball.
Yeah, to play baseball. I'm sorry. And when LeBron goes to the Heat.
That's my biggest thing.
That is my biggest thing to me. To me, there's nothing more you can say how much a player means to a team. I mean, the fact that LeBron, he leaves Cleveland, he goes to Miami, goes to the finals. At this point, 8 straight finals. If LeBron James is on a basketball team, you have better odds saying that he could be playing for the worst team in the NBA right now. Like,
look, last year. Look at what the Cavs are doing now.
It's atrocious at how this guy is literally the team. Now, you know.
I'm just going to cut you off there. I think if you just look at statistics alone and scoring per game, I think you definitely have to lean in the direction of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has 8,000 more points. He played one last season. He has 8,000 more points right now. And I want to throw this stat out there. 4,000 of Michael Jordan's career points, a little over 4,000, came off of free throws. LeBron so far has over 7,000 points off of free throws. And Michael Jordan was a much better free throw shooter, sitting at 87% for his career, while LeBron is sitting at 69% for his career.
I will agree that Michael Jordan is a better free throw shooter than LeBron James. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. Where I do have a problem with is saying that Michael Jordan is such a much better shooter. Of course you're going to have more points when you take more shots. And that's exactly what Michael Jordan did. Look at the percentages of those shots. LeBron James has better percentages in nearly every category. 3-point percentage from inside the arc, beyond the arc, everything. He leads in percentages. So the fact that Michael Jordan was more of a ball hog than LeBron James, and you look at Michael Jordan's teams, and you look at LeBron's teams, the fact that LeBron can make everyone around him so good that he can dish the ball around and get to the finals every single year, playing with no names, average Joes who were on the Cleveland Cavaliers last year, that speaks volumes to me.
Throw the numbers out for a second. This is my biggest thing. We're debating who the greatest basketball player of all time is. I think a lot of times when you bring this debate up, a lot of the Michael Jordan people, they get so caught up with the rings that they kind of lose track of what the whole debate is about. Who the greatest basketball player is of all time.
And I think that rings definitely matter when you're discussing that.
Yes, they do.
I think they play a large percentage.
In a one-on-one basketball game, do you have Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I have Michael Jordan.
I think LeBron James...
Michael Jordan is a better all-around basketball player.
No, I agree. I disagree.
I think Michael Jordan might have LeBron in scoring, but he has him in nowhere else. LeBron James is a way better athlete. He's bigger, stronger, faster.
No, and that's not Jordan's fault now. I mean,
I agree with the size differentials, but I just pulled out a fact that when you need to get a size, Michael Jordan was the defensive player of the year once, which LeBron has never won. Also was on the all-defensive team 9 times to LeBron's 5. Okay. So I think that you say when he might have him in shooting, I think he also has him in defense.
I don't agree.
I disagree.
When you need a stop, right? How about the 2016 NBA Finals when the Warriors were gaining momentum and Andre Iguodala was coming up about to score points? It was going to change the entire game. What did LeBron do? He packed that thing up against the glass, and he sealed the deal, and he ended up winning that series with the Cavs.
He had one chase down block. Do you think Michael Jordan never had a chase down block in the finals game?
This is my thing.
I'm not sure.
This is my thing.
I'm not sure either.
This is my thing. When say that it was a close game with Michael Jordan, say that the best player on that team was a point guard or a center on whatever team Jordan was playing. Jordan wasn't going to go guard that player. They were going to leave it up to whoever was playing in that position. Whatever team LeBron James is on, if a center is the best player on that team and they're, the game's tied and it's late in the fourth quarter, LeBron James is going to cover that center.
LeBron James is a well-rounded defender.
LeBron James will cover that 5'10" point guard who has crazy handles and who can cross any big guy on the face of the planet, but LeBron James. LeBron James his size and his athleticism is what makes him the better basketball player.
There's no doubt in my mind, LeBron James is the single greatest athlete of all time to ever step foot on this earth.
And this is one of my other things. LeBron James is 33, maybe 34 years old, and he's even said that he feels like he is in the greatest shape of his life.
I think when discussing the greatest of all time, longevity comes into play, of course. If you play for longer, you were better for longer, and you should get some credit for that. And do you think that LeBron James has not had better longevity than Michael Jordan? He's never had a serious, season-ending injury or anything like that.
Did Jordan ever have a...
Jordan had bad knees and missed a lot of games with those. LeBron James has never had anything serious. You talk about Jordan, the flu game. He played with the flu. He did great. LeBron James also had one in the finals. He had the cramp game. He still got out there and he still went off. And a lot of people that are on the Jordan side of things says LeBron James isn't clutch. He doesn't have that dog mentality. But in the 2007 Eastern Finals, LeBron James went off for 25 straight points in the fourth quarter against the Magic. In the 2015, he hit a Game 4 buzzer beater against the Chicago Bulls, and that sent the series to 2-2. A series that the Cavaliers the Miami Heat ended up winning. There's instances like these, and I feel like a lot of LeBron haters nitpick everything. LeBron James is all over the court 24/7. Of course, he's not going to make a great play every time. No one on the face of this earth can. But you never hear about these clutch moments when he scored 25 straight points in 2007 to bring his team and win it. You never hear about any of those moments when discussing LeBron and whether or not he's clutch. You always hear about how he fades out in the finals, but I disagree. I think he's played some great teams in the finals. Sure, with the Heat, you might say they should have won the finals. But since LeBron's been on the Cleveland Cavaliers and facing Golden State Warriors, he never should have won any of those games. And the fact that he was in them speaks a lot.
I agree. I just think that when you talk about clutch, I think it's 100% about the finals and the playoffs, in which I think when you look at the playoff stats, Michael Jordan was 100% a better playoff player. You can argue that maybe he had Scottie Pippen with him, but if you look back at LeBron's Heat teams, he had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh with him. If you look back on I think it was 3 of the years actually, with the Cavs that they went to the finals, he had Kyrie Irving, who is arguably the best point guard in the league.
Do you think that Kyrie Irving alone comes close to Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, those type of players that were on that team? Do you think that
I think there's definitely other players.
And also, LeBron James was not facing near the team. I mean, LeBron James has been facing way harder teams than Michael Jordan did. In Michael Jordan's time, he was the Golden State Warriors. Now, it wasn't a crazy difference like it is today, but Michael Jordan, the Bulls were the Golden State Warriors. They had the All-Star cast. They blew everyone out. And it's the other way around. LeBron James is facing that team. And the fact that he's in it every single year. Is there a team that the Chicago Bulls, because they were the most dominant team, just like the Golden State Warriors are the most dominant team now, was there a team that the Chicago Bulls had to face every single year in the finals? No, there wasn't.
LeBron James is playing against the real-life Space Jam.
Of course. It's ridiculous what he's going against. And the fact that he is even in it.
Now, let's look at the last 2 years. They got beat 4-1 in the finals and swept last year. So the last 2 years he hadn't been in it.
He got there. He was in it. LeBron James took a team of nothing. J.R. Smith was probably the second best player on that team, and he hasn't been good since the TV looked different on the screen. Okay, he hasn't been good since the colors were different on the screen with the Denver Nuggets.
All right, guys. Before we move on, I just want to say this. I think that if LeBron James is able to lead the Los Angeles Lakers to the finals this year,
If they beat the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals,
If he's
then
able,
all of a sudden,
if he's able to do it,
then all of a sudden he's in there.
because here's something that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough when you do this debate. Michael Jordan didn't only play for the Bulls. He spent 2 years with the Washington Wizards,
After his baseball career.
and I don't even know if they made the play. I don't even think they made.
How old was he then, though? He had to be 38, 39.
I agree. I've never heard that argument being told. No one ever says anything about that. But now that I think about it, that's a huge stat.
Because
LeBron James makes it every year. He's always in there.
Exactly. He makes it every
If
year.
LeBron took 2 years off, like MJ did, and came back, what would he do?
Okay,
Michael
Jordan didn't take 2 years off. Michael Jordan went to play baseball.
He was still.
He took 2 years off from basketball. I agree that he kept his body in shape, which most athletes do.
Now that I think about it, that is a great point. Michael Jordan went to a team like the Cavaliers, and what happened? Never got past the first round, if they even made the playoffs. I'm not exactly positive. LeBron James is on a team like the Cavaliers, and he's taken them to the finals 3 straight years. That's all there is.
All right, so
I'm interested to see what LeBron can do the next 4 or 5 years once he gets up to the age that Michael Jordan was at playing then. If he's still playing at the level he's at today, or even close out, my mind will change. But until then, I do believe that Michael Jordan is the single-handed greatest basketball player to ever step on this earth.
How about this? How about this for a second? LeBron plays these 4 years with Los Angeles.
If he wins 2 or more titles, I'll change my mind.
He wins at least 3, and he ties it up. Because he has 3 right now. He has 3 rings right now. He ties it up and he gets 6 rings. Then
if he wins 2, my
no,
argument
no.
changes.
Then he goes to Chicago. The Bulls draft Bronny Jr. and he wins the 7th ring with his son on Michael Jordan's team.
By that point, he's by far the greatest basketball player ever.
He's going to be playing that long.
Well, if he is, then we'll see it. We'll make another episode
He might
in 7 years.
He might not be playing at this level at that time.
He'll be playing.
But he will be in the league. I don't see LeBron James ever slowing down unless he goes to do movies. And before we get off, I just want to get one-on-one with the viewers out there. If you think that Kobe Bryant is in the conversation with these two, then you need to get out. LeBron James just joined the Lakers, and he's a better Laker than Kobe Bryant ever was. Kobe Bryant is terrible. He wasn't even the best player on his team when Shaq was there. Shaq led them to those finals, not Kobe Bryant.
Shaq done talk us off. Now, after this break, we're going to be going to the gridiron, talking about the college football playoff, and wondering, did the committee get it right? GroupCast Sports would like to thank one of our sponsors, Brandy's Hope, for their generous donation to GroupCast Sports. Brandy's Hope is a community service company and organization that employs people and works with people to go out into the community and just to give back. So we would like to, from all of us here at GroupCast Sports, we would like to thank y'all for y'all's generous donation. What's going on, everyone? I want to welcome you back to Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven. Now we just talked about Michael Jordan versus LeBron, who was the greatest basketball player of all time. Now we're going to switch our focus to the gridiron. Did the college football playoff committee get it right? Steven?
Well, first I'd like to start with this. If any of you believe that UCF should have been in the playoffs,
Okay, well,
don't listen to any of the rest of this, because that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. UCF's strength of schedule was 71st in the country. Let's just put this into perspective. Southern Miss was at 46.
and
Oh, wow.
and
So their record, their strength of schedule is absurdly bad. What's the best team they played all year? A non-ranked Memphis, which they played.
without their starting quarterback, that they
They
can't.
played twice.
They were non-ranked. You should be able to be a non-ranked team without your starting
If
quarterback.
you're a top 4 team,
Yeah.
like you claim it.
Either way, going undefeated 2 times in a year beats a 1-loss or 2-loss team.
I don't agree.
I do agree.
Not with that.
What you play?
Not with that 1-loss team. I could go undefeated if I was playing a whole bunch of 4-year-olds on a
They have
football
not
team.
lost. They
Georgia,
haven't lost a game in 2 years.
They played nobody.
Alabama.
They played. Okay.
Alabama has gone and played LSU, Georgia, Auburn, Mississippi State.
Okay, who's saying that Alabama should be in the playoff?
I agree. Now, here's my argument. Now, there's a lot of teams that sure you could have made an argument for. One team that got in that I don't agree with is Notre Dame.
For all the viewers, right now the college football playoff is looking like this. Or actually, it does look like this. Number 1, you have Alabama. Number 2, you have Clemson. Number 3, you have Notre Dame. And number 4, you have Oklahoma. Alabama and Oklahoma will play, and Clemson and Notre Dame will play.
Notre Dame will get blown out. I think Notre Dame is the worst team in all 4 of these. Notre Dame's another one. While they play better teams than UCF, they still have not played enough teams for me to actually put them in. I think that a team like Ohio State should be in over them. Put Georgia in over them, but my vote goes to Ohio State.
First of all, I agree with what you said. There's no way Notre Dame should be in. If you look at Notre Dame's schedule, sure, they beat a good Michigan team in week 1. I think they won by a touchdown, like 24-17. But if you go look at their schedule, they did finish 12-0. They beat a 4-8 Ball State team by a score of 24-16. They beat a 6-6 Vanderbilt team by a score of 22-17.
They're going to get whacked. They're going to have to pass the stick during this game against Clemson.
They beat a 7-6 Pittsburgh team by a score of 19-14. And then at the last game of the regular season, which was 2 weeks ago, they beat a 5-7 USC team by a score of 24-17.
They're struggling really hard to beat these unranked, under 500 teams. What makes you think that they're going to be able to beat Clemson?
They're the worst team in the playoff by far, and that's even being said with Oklahoma having Oklahoma's defense is rated 123rd out of 128.
It's terrible.
They have a horrible defense, and they're still 10 times better than Notre Dame.
Right. I think the seeding should have been a lot different. Alabama has a harder game than Clemson does in this, even though Clemson is the 2 seed.
Agreed.
Because Notre Dame is going to get destroyed. I mean, I'm willing to say that to the top of my lungs. If they prove me wrong, then I will sell my house, because I don't think that's going to happen, folks. Notre Dame is not a good football team.
They're a good football team.
After hearing that, compared to Alabama,
No.
compared to,
But they're 12-0. They're a good football team.
they're a good.
So an undefeated team is a good football team.
They're good. I'm not arguing that they're not good. I'm arguing that they're not top 4.
Okay, UCF should be in this playoff. Here's why Georgia shouldn't be in the playoff. Georgia's big case as to why they should be in the playoff is because of how they played against Alabama, a game that they lost.
All right, let's just
So your number one reason for why you should be in the playoff is a game that you lost.
here's another.
We should be in the playoffs. We didn't lose that bad. That's not how it goes.
Here's another thing. They were 11-1 coming into that game. They had lost to Georgia earlier in the year. They were ranked number 4. They went in and played a game, unlike Notre Dame. Notre Dame they're not in a conference, so they don't play a conference championship game. So Notre Dame was ranked 3 and Georgia was ranked 4 going into the conference championship game. Georgia goes in, and not only do they play a good team, they play the best team in the country. They play Alabama, a game in which they led by 14 most of the game, and if it wasn't for a heroic comeback by the backup, Jalen Hurts, which I agree should have never happened, Georgia blew it.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, Georgia's your SEC champs, and all of a sudden, you might be wondering whether Bama gets in.
Okay, Bama would
Bama would get in no matter what.
Bama would get in. Oklahoma would not be in.
I think that
And Oklahoma deserves to be in because they have the Heisman player on their team, Kyler Murray.
I for one think that Ohio State is better than Oklahoma. They have my Heisman in Haskins over there.
Oh, wow.
He is a beast. He leads that offense, and that's a very good offense. I think they should be in.
They lost to Purdue by 29 points.
Right. Okay.
A 6-6 Purdue team.
They dropped a easy game, right? Okay. They
didn't drop it.
They dropped the ball.
They got obliterated.
They dropped the ball, but they also beat a lot of good teams, and that alone shows
Name
me
one, other than Michigan.
That alone
Other than
shows
Michigan.
me that they should be in over Oklahoma. But just because I'm a big fan of the eye test, and I don't think that Oklahoma's defense could stop.
Oklahoma's defense does not pass the eye test one bit.
They can't stop a high school team, so I'm not sure why they should be out there facing, top 4 talent. I think
However,
it would be a well-rounded
Ohio State's defense is not that good either.
It's not near as bad as Oklahoma.
It's not as bad, but
Not near as bad. Not even close to as bad as Oklahoma.
Ohio State gave up 39 to Michigan. The week before, they gave up 44 to Maryland. They gave up 49 to 6-6 Purdue.
Right. Well, they won most of those games, save for the Purdue game. They played a bad game against Purdue. I'm not going to lie. They played a very bad game. But Oklahoma also lost to Texas. And
Oklahoma also revenged that loss in the conference championship game.
And L is an L. They still lost to Texas. I think Alabama is, but I don't think anyone around the world is arguing that Alabama isn't the best team in
Yes, Alabama was clearly the best team. Now let me ask you something. We're kind of arguing Ohio State and Oklahoma right here. All right, so let's just do this. They were both 11-1. They both finished 12-1, but both were 11-1 going into their conference championship game. I think if you want to look at them, they're pretty close. Let's look at the loss. The loss for Oklahoma was to 9-3 Texas, and the loss for Ohio State was, let me add, they lost to Oklahoma on a game-winning field goal at the end. Now, Ohio State lost by 29 to a 6-6 Purdue team. So I think when you take those two into account, the committee got that part right and got Oklahoma in over Ohio State.
I agree with that thought, but my thing is, when you, I'm still going back to the eye test, whereas on paper, Oklahoma has a better case to get in. But I don't think that Oklahoma can put that. Sure, Ohio State's defense isn't great, but Oklahoma's defense is atrocious. It's probably
Let me tell you something. Oklahoma's offense is the best in the country, so we're going to have an absolute shootout in that playoff game. I don't think either defense can stop the opposing offense.
Alabama can stop.
Alabama's defense has had problems this year.
They can stop Oklahoma.
They will stop Oklahoma.
They've had problems?
Yes, they gave up a touchdown to Ole Miss.
Okay. Well, that's it for the video. Good night, pal.
They gave up, I believe, 32 to Arkansas. Now that's certainly they're still Alabama's defense. They still have a good defense, but they have had their problems. And Oklahoma's bringing in a very good offense. A couple of potential first and second round picks at receiver in CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown. And they have the Heisman winner. I'm going to go ahead and announce it. It's being announced Saturday night, but Kyler Murray will win the Heisman.
I pick is Haskins.
And let me guess, you think two.
God.
Who do you think should win the Heisman?
I would go with Murray, probably.
I think that Haskins has no shot. I think it's between, the only person that can rival Murray is two.
Once again, when you talk about Murray versus Haskins, I go back to the eye test, and that's where I think that Haskins has the upper hand. Well, I'm not going to just hate on Kyler Murray. He's had a better year. Yeah, he's electrifying to watch. He's a great quarterback. Sucks that he's not going to be playing in the NFL.
He's already signed a $5 million baseball.
I'd love to keep watching him there, but once again, the reason I'm taking Ohio State is because no one's arguing. Oklahoma and Ohio State both have great offenses, right?
Oklahoma's is definitely better than Ohio State's, but yes, they're both pretty good.
Agreed. And then they both have bad defenses. But Ohio State's defense is definitely better than Oklahoma's defense.
But Oklahoma's offense is definitely better than Ohio State's.
Right, so right now they're deadlocked.
They're deadlocked, and that's when you would go back to the loss.
Okay.
The loss was about 3 points to Texas and about 29 to Purdue, and that's where Oklahoma gets the upper hand, in my opinion.
And my point is...
Now, Ohio State didn't have the chance to avenge that loss. Oklahoma did, and they avenged the loss. So I think that plays a factor, even though Ohio State didn't get the chance like Oklahoma did. And I think if Ohio State did get the chance, they beat Purdue. They're clearly a better football team than Purdue.
Right.
But they didn't get that chance, and I think that honestly will hurt them. Did hurt them, But.
Right.
I think that, you can call me crazy, but UCF, they've proved themselves. And here's why. Last year they go undefeated. Everybody, all UCF fans are saying, we want Bama, put us in the playoff, yada yada yada. Well, what does the committee do? They say, okay, well, your strength of schedule is horrible. You can't beat good teams. This, that, and the other. You're not getting in the playoffs.
So why not schedule better teams?
So
that's what I'm saying.
So they get so they get put in a bowl game against an SEC team called Auburn, and Auburn loses to UCF.
I will give you this.
Then
UCF beat Auburn, and last year Auburn did beat Alabama.
And
Alabama was the national champion.
Then this year they lose their head coach Scott Frost. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen with this UCF team? What do? They go undefeated again. 2 years in a row, this team went undefeated. Now, yes, their strength of schedule is not good. Neither is Notre Dame's.
It's Notre Dame's is 26. UCF's is 71.
Either way, this team went undefeated 2 years in a row. They beat an SEC team in the bowl game, and now the committee doesn't.
But in my opinion, when picking for this year, everything from last year goes out the window.
Yes,
for
last year has nothing to do.
Everything else, by the way, UCF will get obliterated in their bowl game.
And if you look at that, not so much on paper. I'm a big fan of the eye test. I like to look at the team and watch it. And if you look at UCF, they don't look 12-0. They don't look 12-0. If you watch them, you would not think that they were that good. They've played in a lot of close games this year. Their defense is atrocious.
I think if UCF schedules, all they had to do was schedule one good team. If they
scheduled just it's somebody they thought was going to be good. Auburn, who finished 7-5.
Right. If they beat Auburn, I put them in. But they don't beat Auburn, so I don't put them in.
Also, another thing that's not being mentioned is that what hurt them a little bit, they weren't getting in either way, but the main reason that they're not getting in now is because they're without their starting quarterback.
They are without their starting quarterback.
Who got hurt in week 12.
What do you think happens if UCF gets in at number 4?
How bad do you think Alabama wins?
No, yes, they do.
What do you think the score?
Yeah, what?
The score, UCF might get shut out and Alabama might put up 100.
Okay, exactly.
But here's my...
No. Now, what do you think? Now, what do you think
Oklahoma does
against Oklahoma?
Here's my thing.
It's a lot closer.
Here's my thing. Who cares? They still earned their spot in the playoff.
They would have earned their spot if they scheduled a decent team.
They did not lose a game.
No,
They did not lose a game.
Here's an argument for you. If Ole Miss goes and plays, we can agree that Ole Miss was bad this year. They were 5-7.
Terrible.
If Ole Miss goes and plays the schedule that UCF did, they're 12-0. However, they're still terrible.
I disagree. Ole Miss is not 12-0.
What team does Ole Miss not beat that UCF does?
They don't beat Memphis.
Yeah.
They don't beat.
Wow.
Ole Miss is terrible.
Ole Miss was terrible.
Ole Miss doesn't beat.
But I still
Ole Miss
think
doesn't beat Memphis.
I
Ole
think
Miss
Ole Miss
doesn't beat
beats
Cincinnati. Ole Miss doesn't beat North Carolina, which that game did get postponed.
North Carolina was like 3-9 this year.
Okay, and Ole Miss wasn't that much better.
Ole Miss got a lot of their wins from FCS schools and things like that. Ole Miss was terrible.
Agreed. Ole Miss was bad.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Their best win was a 6-6 Texas
Do you
Tech.
think that Ole Miss could beat UCF?
No.
Possibly.
Oh no. Okay, this is
Ole Miss,
where we differ.
Ole Miss is not beat UCF.
No, Ole Miss gets beat by a lot by UCF. I think that UCF is a good team, and they're deserving of their high bowl game against LSU with their undefeated record. But you got to schedule better teams if you want to be the best of the best. I think this all comes down to a flaw in the college football playoff system. I think it should definitely be more teams because that way you don't have all this coming out. Don't even say it. Know what you're going to say.
Let me go ahead and give you my point. They all hate it. This is how you fix college football. What do baseball and basketball tournaments have in common? The number of teams. 64. If you put, alright.
Okay,
no. Let me finish. Alright, this is how you do it. You shorten the regular season to 10 games. Every team still plays their 8 conference games, and you eliminate conference championships because there's really no reason for them now that the playoffs bigger. Alright, so you play 10 games, 8 conference, 2 non-conference. You can schedule 2 terrible non-conference, or you can make it fun and schedule some bigger ones. Doesn't really matter, but this is how you do it. So there's a 64 team tournament, seeded exactly like basketball does, 1 to 16, 4 regions. You play all the way to the national championship game. The national championship winner will play 16 games. Last year, the national championship winner played 15 games. So there's not much of a difference in games, which was the main argument for why you wouldn't do it if you shorten the regular season. That's just my take.
Well, I think,
and it also allows for any team to win. There's no more arguments of, oh, if Ole Miss would have gotten in, they would have done this. If UCF would have gotten in, they would have done this.
Well, I think that would be very entertaining. It won't happen because football's a different sport. They have a lot more injuries and stuff. By the end of a 64-team tournament,
An 8-team playoff is what we need.
16 if we're going to make it bigger.
I'm good with 8. I think 8 is fine.
8 is fine.
Well, if you do 8, what do? You do the 5 conference champions, 2 at-large bids, and the group of 5 winner, which would be UCF.
Right, I agree.
And then 2 at-large, which would be Georgia, and probably Michigan. Actually, no, it'd be Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame did win the conference championship.
Yeah, that is true.
Ohio State won the conference championship. So they did it automatically.
Yes, I will say, I'm upset that UCF didn't get in, but I mean, I'm not butthurt about it. I do understand where y'all are coming from about the strength of schedule. I just think that it's horse crap because, I mean, they went undefeated 2 years in a row. They beat Auburn last year. And if they beat LSU this year,
and if they roll out that same schedule next year and go undefeated again, they still shouldn't be in the college football playoff.
Let's do this. Let's say this. LSU is not as good as any of the playoff teams. LSU is 9-3, and they played one playoff team in a game in which they lost by 30 points. So let's not compare LSU to a playoff team, okay? So if they beat LSU, that doesn't necessarily mean
to his point, if they were to beat LSU in the regular season, I think they get in. If they beat LSU in the regular,
but they're scared to schedule anybody in the regular season.
Right, I agree. I think that if they want something,
this is on their athletic director right now.
I think if they want something to change, schedule better opponents. Prove that you have what it takes to be in the playoffs, and you'll get in there.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think no matter what teams were scheduled, we've known since the beginning of this season that our national championship was going to be Alabama versus Clemson.
Yeah.
I think
again
we all know that.
I think Alabama wins that game by a lot. By the way,
I actually don't.
I don't either.
I'm a big fan.
At the beginning of the year, I was like, "There's no team coming close."
Trevor Lawrence is good. He's really freaking good.
He's good.
And Alabama has continuously gotten worse.
Guess what else is good? The entire Alabama roster is good. They're really good. NFL, good.
If there was one wide receiver that could win the Heisman too, it'd be Travis Etienne from Clemson. Clemson has a dynamic running back. I don't know his name, but Clemson's good, and they have 3 first-round picks on their defensive line alone.
And Alabama is great from top to bottom. They're by far the best team. I think they beat Clemson by 3 possessions in that national championship.
Well, we'll see, because first of all, Alabama's definitely beating Oklahoma, and Clemson's definitely beating Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Notre Dame Clemson game will be 3 possessions too.
Okay, so before we move on, Steven, and we're not going to bring UCF into this.
All right, here's my top 4.
I want to hear your 4.
All right, number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Oklahoma.
Give me number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3. Give me number 3, Oklahoma. Then number 4, Georgia. I've been a big fan of Ohio State, but
mine includes Ohio State. I think number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Oklahoma. Number 4, Ohio State. People wanting Georgia getting in the playoff, it makes me so freaking mad.
They've proved that they can hang with the big guys.
After listening to that, I agree with that. Ohio State should be in over Georgia.
100%. The whole deal, I mean, and also let me go ahead and say this. There is nobody that I hate more in this world than Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart.
First of all, that was the dumbest play call I've ever seen. On the 50-yard line with 2 minutes left, they ran a fake punt.
I don't think it was a bad play call.
It was 4th and 12.
I don't think it's a bad play call, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Alabama's offense was hot, so they were going to be there. They were going to drive with the field to score either way. You're going to try to get the first down.
Why not try to make them drive 95 yards instead of 50?
Well, because they were going to drive either way, and I think that you're going to drive either way, so why not give your team a chance? Because if you give it to them and make them drive 95 yards, they're going to eat that clock, they're not going to have a chance.
Well, here's the thing. If they drive 95 yards, they have 2 minutes. Alabama's offense is honestly not equipped for 2-minute offense. I think we can all agree with that. I think they're more of a run the clock out and beat you kind of team. Now, however, giving them the ball in the 50 with 2 minutes left allowed them to go 20 yards and get in field goal range. They ended up scoring, but they could have
scored either way. And I think that's what was going through Kirby Smart's head, was they're going to score either way. They've been driving ever since Jalen's been in the game, so
I can understand why he did it. I just didn't agree with it at the time, and especially after with what happened. But
yeah, hindsight's 20/20. So I mean, you could say that it might not have been the right call, but I don't think it's such a terrible call.
I can see what he was doing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to do it for this part of the debate. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to be discussing whether or not the Warriors' short dynasty is over.
We'd like to give a personal thanks to Sharon Ammann and her Rodan and Fields business. They're a makeup and skincare company, and their motto is, if you have skin, then it's for you. Give Sharon a call at 601-613-8065 and get your skincare needs today.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven. Next up, for our final debate of the night, we're going to discuss whether or not the Warriors' short dynasty is over with. Steven, I know you're a Warriors fan.
I am.
So, to see them off on this horrible start, how do you feel?
First of all, I don't think that you can call 17-9 horrible. I think that it's certainly not up to the Warriors standards that we're accustomed to seeing, but any other team that's 17-9 is having a great year.
I agree.
So I agree that definitely they have not been on the level that we're used to seeing.
Okay.
Now here's my counter for that argument. I think that there's no way possible you could say it's over by the first 26 games of the season. I think that Steph Curry has missed 17 of those, I believe, 15 of those, with groin injury. Draymond Green has missed 6 or 7 with a toe injury. Draymond and KD had their little spat that led to some tension, so there was a couple losses there probably. But I think now that Steph Curry and Draymond are back in the lineup, the last 2 games they've been in, and they've beaten their opponents by 23 and 27.
That is my biggest point on why the dynasty of those Golden State Warriors might be ending. Basketball dynasties, everyone knows, ends because of egos. Football dynasties end because of free agency and injuries. Basketball dynasties end because of egos. And I think those heads are getting a little bit too big in Golden State. First of all, KD has never been the type to be such a great teammate. Look what he did with OKC. And now he's coming here and the same problems. Draymond Green is another loudmouth. So one of those guys are going to have to go. Of course, Draymond does not add as much as KD does. But at what point does Steph step up too and argue with KD? Because I feel like KD thinks this is his team. And to me, it's Steph's team. I think Steph Curry means more to the Warriors than Kevin Durant does.
I agree, and I always argued the last couple of years that maybe KD was slowly becoming one of the best players in the NBA. And I still think that he is. I think he's definitely a top 10, arguably a top 5 player in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
However, with what Steph Curry brings to the table, he can hit a shot from anywhere on the floor.
And that's just a game changer.
He's also,
the game.
And what's not mentioned is his handles and the way he can move around and get open without the ball, movement without the ball. He's insanely good at all that. So I don't think that shooting's his only thing, which you can take away shooting, but he creates his own shots. He can get open by his own dribble. I think that Steph Curry has slowly become the second best player in the NBA today behind LeBron James.
I disagree. I think that spot goes to Anthony Davis.
I think
Anthony Davis is certainly
I agree with that.
However, I think Steph Curry and Anthony Davis I think that Anthony Davis last year was better, but I think that Steph Curry, is slowly coming in. He dropped 42 last night.
But then you got to think.
It was like 9 of 10.
You just said Curry missed 15 games this season.
He did, but
he's played less games than he's been out. So you can't say he's been any better than Anthony Davis.
Okay, so
yeah, I take back that statement.
okay, so Alex, you say that you think the dynasty is coming to an end.
Well, this is my thing. What do you coming to an end? What means this is coming to an end? Is it if they don't make playoffs, are they coming to an end? Because they're making playoffs.
They're going to make playoffs. I think coming to an end is not making the finals. Because if they don't make the finals, then that means teams...
They're not making the finals.
They're not making... I agree. I was just about to say it. They're not making the finals.
They're not.
Against the Lakers.
I think they have a chance. They might not. The Clippers are ridiculous.
The Clippers are third in the West.
The Clippers are looking good.
But I'm going to tell you a team that no one is thinking about.
From the East. Or are you talking about the West?
I'm talking about the West right now.
You give me your
The East is the Raptors. The Raptors.
That's what I was
The
talking about.
Raptors are winning the East.
The Raptors
are winning the East with East.
The East is no more LeBron deal, so it's up for
The
grabs.
only team, there's two teams that can compete with the Raptors right now. It's the Celtics and the Sixers. Do you agree with that?
I don't think the Celtics.
I think the 76ers are dominant. I think they are money, and I would love for them to do good. But I don't think they can beat the
I think
Raptors.
the Bucks and the 76ers.
The Bucks are slowly becoming one of the better teams in the NBA.
The Bucks are dangerous. The Bucks are dangerous.
They have another candidate for number 2 player in the NBA.
Giannis, he is insane. But on the West, the Nuggets.
I agree.
The Nuggets.
I haven't seen any of them this year.
The Nuggets lead the West.
Do they really?
17-7.
Let's not sleep on the Dallas Mavericks. Doncic is a freak.
He was a steal at number 5 in the.
He should have been number 1 overall, and it shouldn't have been close.
Wasn't he the one traded for Trae Young?
He was traded for Trae Young. He was traded for Trae Young, and now
this is the reason the Hawks are bad. This is your fault.
But I'm going to go ahead and say this: Atlanta, do not draft Zion Williamson.
Draft Zion Williamson. Forget that.
I don't want him to because I want to see Zion Williamson blossom. I don't want to see him go.
I want to see. Yeah,
never mind. Draft RJ Barrett.
Yeah. I'm gonna say RJ Barrett.
I think RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett is the, not to get off subject, but RJ Barrett is the best overall basketball player in college basketball.
Zion Williamson is way more fun to watch.
Zion Williamson is more fun and he's more dominant.
Yeah,
but the better basketball player.
All around.
I think RJ Barrett means more to a team, especially if you have already pieces. Now, Zion Williamson might be better if he's the only player on a team because, of course, he's dominant.
RJ Barrett's a better all-around passer. He can shoot. He can get to the lane and score.
I think in the long run, RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson are going 1 and 2.
RJ Barrett reminds me a lot of Kyrie Irving.
My thing is, I think that Zion Williamson has a higher ceiling. So Zion Williamson could become
the next LeBron James.
He could become LeBron James-esque, whereas I think the ceiling for RJ Barrett is still high, but it's more like a Kyrie. So it's a really great player, but not anyone that's
the ceiling is higher for Zion because of his athletic freakiness.
Right. But that's
he's 6'8". What is he? 6'9", 290.
That's ridiculous.
And he has like
bigger than Gronk.
He has like a 40-something inch vertical.
That is scary.
He's one of the nastiest dunkers.
Could you imagine, viewers at home, could you imagine sitting in the paint and seeing that man coming at you and about to dominate you? He's about to make you look funny. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if Shaq is watching this right now. You will get dunked on by Zion Williamson, Shaquille O'Neal.
All right, back on subject. The Warriors dynasty. I don't think that they're making the finals.
Okay, if the definition of dynasty over is not making the finals, then I agree. The dynasty's over because I don't think they're making the finals.
But I think it's not necessarily our. I don't think that's necessarily our. Definition of dynasty. I think that's always been for basketball with the Lakers. The reason they had their dynasty was their rings.
Yeah, dynasties make it to the finals.
The Celtics were their rings. The Bulls, it was their rings.
I'm thinking that you can be a dynasty even if you miss 1 year and come back. You're still a dynasty. You're still a freak. You're still a great team that ruled the league for years and years and years. Just because
you missed 1 year and came to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, you're still a dynasty in my opinion.
Like the Patriots missing the Super Bowl every now and then. But they're a dynasty.
But if we're saying that a dynasty is the Warriors missing the playoffs, get them out of here. Warriors missing the playoffs. First of all, I'm not missing playoffs. Missing the finals. They're definitely making playoffs, and they're going to make playoffs for years to come. They're always going to be a good team for the near future until Steph Curry retires or goes to another team. But finals, get them out of here. Golden State Warriors are not making the finals this year.
Wow.
Write it down.
I agree.
Write it down.
That's where I disagree. I think they make the finals, and I think they win it.
The biggest argument against LeBron James is he can't play in the finals. Guess what he can play in?
The Western Conference Finals.
Right. So
he's never played in the Western Conference. He's played in
the conference finals.
This is the thing. If he wins to Los Angeles, if the Warriors stick together, there's a chance that LeBron doesn't make it to a finals in the near future.
I think LeBron
I think first of
And the
all,
Lakers have a chance, but I don't even think they're the main people knocking on Golden State's door.
I think first of all, it hasn't been the Cavs and the Warriors that everybody's worried about. It's been the Warriors and LeBron. So I think that now LeBron is on a much better team. I think that this Lakers team is way better.
I agree.
Than
Look at what
the Cavs were last year.
The Cavs were
Look
last
at the
year,
Cavs.
100%.
He
However,
went out and got the players that he wanted.
unfortunately for LeBron, the Western Conference is
Loaded.
because right now, like I said, you have 3 to 4 teams in the East.
If the Lakers
and
are playing in the Eastern Conference right now, they're a favorite.
it's them and the Raptors. It's
And the 76ers and Celtics fall behind.
and the Bucks.
And the Bucks.
But I think that because this Lakers team, they started off with that rough start, that rocky start, but they've really started to pick things up. They've really started to play as a team more. They've started to win some ball games. They just beat the Spurs last night, a team who's beat them twice already this year. And LeBron dropped, I'm going to say like 46, maybe 48, something like that.
If I may.
25 in the first.
If I may. The Golden State Warriors are a great team, and they've been a great team, but they're not as good as they've been.
No,
because of the ego. And I think that is why this NBA season has been the most exciting to watch in forever. Could you agree? I mean, realistically, there's like 8 teams that have a chance of being in that in the finals. And
This is fun.
And that's normally not the case. Normally it's Golden State and LeBron. Yeah, Golden State and whoever LeBron's on. That's normally what it's been. And this year, Golden State might get overthrown.
And honestly,
LeBron might not make it. He's in the West now.
And honestly, LeBron got lucky that he made it last year because
The Celtics
should have been in it. But Gordon Hayward, if Gordon Hayward is back playing, the Celtics move on.
One last thing before we end this. I think that y'all have said that there are teams that have a chance to overthrow the Warriors this year. One thing that we're not looking at is who the Warriors have on the bench available to come back in about a month. DeMarcus Cousins.
That is a good point.
That is a good point.
He's going to change their team.
They've never had that center, that 5-man that can just play. They've had Zaza Pachulia
But I'm
the last couple years.
just going to
And
say,
they just put arguably a top 3 center in the league.
I think DeMarcus Cousins is overrated. I think when he goes to teams, sure, he's a great player, but really does he help them out a great impact as far as wins go?
You have 5 All-Stars on the court.
Well, I agree. He's a great player.
It's an All-Star team.
But there's not much room to grow for the Warriors. They're already the best team in the league. If they're losing because of ego, that's not going to change by adding bigger egos in the locker room.
I think another big thing with this season that a lot of people really haven't talked about much is this last year's draft class has done fairly well. We talked about Trae Young and he's not winning
Who
basketball.
went number 1?
Number 1 was DeAndre Ayton to the Suns.
He played pretty well.
He's played well. You got Colin Sexton. He's played
He's played really well.
He's played well for the Cavs.
He's played
well. He's the only one playing well on that team.
I saw something, and his numbers are matching up to Jason Tatum. Jason
Tatum was a rookie of the year candidate.
His numbers are matching up to Jason Tatum's last year, and that's a big deal.
The Cavs,
and he's doing that with nobody around.
Yeah, right. and the Cavs are probably going to be the top 3 pick in the draft.
Oh, they're a lottery team.
They should draft one of the 3 Duke boys.
Yes, exactly. Have Colin Sexton right there, and then
either Zion, RJ, or Cam Reddish.
I think for that team, you pick Zion. Because he is the closest thing to LeBron. And if you can get another LeBron, you're back in there.
And on top of that, the city of Cleveland would fall in love with Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson.
If I'm the city of Cleveland, I'm hoping Cleveland loses so we can get Zion Williamson.
Exactly.
You're done at this point. You need to take it.
The football team, they got their Baker. They got their Mayfield. The Indians have been fine. The Indians have been winning. The Indians have been fine. Now LeBron leaves. You got to get your player. So back to the subject. We've gotten on subject a lot on this one because there's so many different aspects that you can go at it. But the Warriors, they have gotten off to a rocky start. First 26 games of the year. There's 82 games in a season. There's still a lot of basketball left this season to play. Whether or not they get to the finals, we'll have to wait and see on that. Some of us think they will, some of us think they won't. You know, now it's just the waiting game. We'll be right back after this with our final 2-minute drive of the night with Alex here. He's going to be doing a special 2-minute little piece just talking about sports, giving his opinions on some important matters in sports. And this is going to be a new segment that's coming to Hot Seats every single week. So be sure to join back in with us right after this break. GroupCast Sports would like to thank one of our sponsors, Maggie Made Designs. Maggie is always working to create new designs for GroupCast Sports as far as shirts and mugs and other things. So once again, we'd like to thank Maggie and for her donations and her business, Maggie Made Designs.
Hello everyone, this is Alex Seghini. This is my 2-minute drive of the night. Let's start it. Alright, so first off I'm going to talk about the Packers. They fired Mike McCarthy. I think it was without a doubt the move to do. Take you back to the Packers against Seattle. There's like 2 minutes left in that ball game. The Packers are down by, 3 points. They're on their other 40. They're on their 40-yard line, so not in field goal range whatsoever. 4th and 2. What does Mike McCarthy decide to do? You have Aaron Rodgers on your team and you punt the ball. He should have been fired then. Aaron Rodgers is possibly the greatest quarterback of all time. You know, he's up there, and he should not be having to send his special teams out there to punt the ball on 4th and 2 when you have a chance to win it. I saw that the linebackers coach came out and for the Packers and was talking crap, straight up crap about Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's become a diva. He's letting the money get to his head. That is ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers deserves to be a diva if he wants to. He's the only thing that's decent about this Packers team. Mike McCarthy, see you later. His offense was so basic. Aaron Rodgers had to be great at all times to even be decent. And that's the point. Sure, you have a great quarterback, but you just can't lean on him as a head coach 24/7. Will Mike McCarthy get picked up? Sure he will. There's a lot of teams needing needing head coaches. Bengals, Jets, Giants, all those come to mind, honestly. All three of those have terrible coaches. Will he get signed? Probably. I don't think that he'll go to the Bengals. I don't think he'll go to the Giants, but I think that the Jets is a great place for him to end up. And looking at the coaches around here, there is coaches everywhere. I mean, there's big candidates everywhere. Bruce Arians even came out and said that he would like the challenge of coaching the Browns. And I wish I could just see Bruce Arians, period. I love him as a coach. He's defensive mind. There's my timer done. That was my 2-minute drive of the night. Mike McCarthy should have been fired. He wasn't a good head coach. We'll be right back with you after this.
We'd like to thank People's Bank for their sponsorship of GroupCast Sports. People's Bank is the official bank of GroupCast Sports. You can go visit their many branches for your loan or deposit needs.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven.
I think that we've had a good show here tonight. I think that we've discussed a lot of hot topics. I want to thank Alex for coming and joining the show, and that's all I got.
Alex, yeah.
I just want to say that I love coming. I'm able to come whenever y'all want. I'd love to give the fans thank you guys for watching. We love when you watch GroupCast Sports. We're always thinking about something new to put out. And, you know, the only reason we're doing this is because of y'all. Obviously, we love it, but the viewers are what drive us to do this. And I just want to thank y'all for watching this.
And that's our sign-off for Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven. Be sure to subscribe to the GroupCast Sports YouTube page. Also, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Once again, thanks for watching this week. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of Hot Seats with Grayson and Steven.